Yes, baby, I'm getting the groceries. I'm dropping the laundry at the laundromat. I know they lost our socks last time. I'm going to talk to them about it, all right? I'm going to talk to them about it. Excuse me, you work here? Excuse me, do you work here? Sir.
Can I help you?
You work here? All right. These are darks. All right, medium water temp. You know how we like it. No bleach, but heavy on the Tide, but no scent, please, okay? All right, baby, I'll be back with you in a sec, all right? These are the whites. All right.
All right. You say something?
Somebody left their phone. Somebody left their phone.
We need these washed.
I'm going to check Sense's checking account. I think this is Alex's phone. Whoa. Make transfer. Where's he at? Right there. Alex, oh, sorry, man. All right. All right, guys, we were just going to have a little fun with a skit. Y'all, who's seen that play out in their laundromats before? Ours have.
Who has not?
Oh, man. So this idea of us coming on, we're the Williford brothers, Luke and
Lee Williford.
We reside out of North Carolina. Raleigh, North Carolina is where we're based out of. We were blessed to be born into this industry. Started many moons ago with our granddad, had one store, 1967. Our dad took it over in the early 70s, and we're blessed to have been born into it. Got into the industry about, how many years, Lee, have you been in?
17.
17 years. I think I'm 15 years or so. But over that time, we've worked and created a self-service only model that we operate. So we're going to answer the question. What's the question?
Yep. Is pick up and delivery, wash, dry, fold right for you? I think that's a question that you have to ask yourself. You may currently have a giant full-service operation that is very profitable, that takes perhaps a lot of your time, or you may be here with the idea of, should I start this service as part of my business model? And so we're going to tell you, like Luke just did a little bit, about who we are, what we do, the decision why we made not to offer that type of service within our business model, and just challenge you to think about that. So first of all, congratulations for being in here and being brave enough to hear what we have to say.
Yes.
And thank you, CLA, for making this session one of the sessions at the Wash, Dry, Fold conference. Everything that we say is going to be pro-laundry industry, so we don't want to degrade or delineate any efforts that are made in your specific niche. So we live in a capitalist world here in the United States for now, and there's supply and demand, and so as long as there is supply for the services that your target customer has, we're going to be there to supply the service that they need. So we'll get into that in just a little bit. So is pickup, delivery, wash, dry, fold right for you? If this is what your car looks like, you should probably not get into wash, dry, fold, and pick up and delivery. If this woman gives you nightmares, you should probably not be in wash, dry, fold, pick up and delivery. If that is you, you should probably not be in this industry. So we're going to try to be as interactive as possible.
Yes.
So
please get involved. We want to ask a few questions. The more participation, the better. Who currently provides wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery services?
All right. Who does not currently provide wash, dry, fold, and or pickup and delivery services?
There's a few.
Just a few? Okay, great. So whose wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery services account for more than 50% of your revenue?
1, 2, 3.
Probably a quarter of the room?
Maybe
Okay.
15%.
All right. Whose wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery services account for more than 50% of your current headaches?
Let's be honest.
Oh, be honest.
Let's be honest. Raise them high.
We even have some people waving ecstatically. They must know what we're going to talk about. So the question is it right for you? And one thing that we want to talk about are the 3 parts of your business model. And those should be built on serving your target customer with excellence, utilizing your resources wisely, and achieving the goals that you've set for yourself. In our business model, our target customer is a woman named Angela. So Angela is a female mother. She has about 2.5 children. It works, it's okay. And she lives within 2 miles of our laundromat. She rents her housing, and she knows that the world is set up against her because everywhere she goes, she finds friction. And so in finding friction, that creates more work for her. 2.5 kids is hard enough if anybody has 2.5 kids. So what we do is we try to make sure that Angela's self-service laundry is as frictionless and smooth of a process as possible. And so that's how we have been able to build the business model that we have based on this specific target customer. You can segment your market many, many ways, but we have decided that the person that we are focused on serving is Angela, and by serving her well, we also serve other customers well who do not fit maybe her demographic.
Yep. And there's trade-offs to everything that you do. That's one of the trade-offs. Could we have more revenue in our 40 laundromats if we offered wash, dry, fold, and pick up and delivery? Possibly, but there's a trade-off. We'd have probably 2 or 3 times the amount of staff members, which would be a lot more to manage. Who enjoys managing all their staff? Anybody? He likes it. How many you got?
22.
Oh, wow.
Okay. All right.
Wow.
That's great.
That is great.
Yeah. So one thing for us is utilizing our resources. So we live in this world. Everything is finite. Cash, people, knowledge, space, those types of things have to be utilized to achieve your goal. Your goal may be to be as profitable as you can be. It may be to provide you with a lifestyle that you're looking for. Your specific goal should be written out, and you should know exactly what it is. Because if you're not aiming for something, you're just out there wandering, trying to run a laundry service company. And so I would encourage you to write down what are your top 3 goals in this business. And if your business model does not currently align with those goals, have a little introspection and think about, how do I reshape what I am doing? Step outside of yourself. Reshape what I'm doing to achieve the goals that I've set for myself. Luke mentioned it.
Yep.
Trade-offs. So I did a pilot in 2024, 10 years ago, and started a full-service company within one of our laundromats. And we offered over-the-counter service, wash, dry, fold. We offered pickup and delivery, which included dry cleaning. And a year later, I burned all of my bags, and I told my staff that was in the laundromat, I'm going to put you at a different store. We are not doing this anymore, because I ended up pulling all my hair out. It was a lot of fun, but it was a lot of work. And at that time, I was managing several stores in the Triangle area of North Carolina, and I realized I could spend my time trying to perfect this model or continuing to grow this self-service model, which our dad had gotten fully into about 20 years ago when he sold all of his dry cleaners. So you have to come to the realization that you cannot do or be everything to everyone all the time. So choose who it is that you're going to serve. Set up a business model that serves them well.
We're going to talk about 4 L's today: liability, logistics, labor, and lifestyle. Those are things we should consider.
Why are they all L's? I just really...
Luke and Lee, 6 L's.
We love L's.
We're going to go through those. What we've done, guys, is really simplified our business model. Gilly told me to mention this. We do fixed pricing. So at all of our stores, all the pricing's the same, exactly the same. The tile floors are the same. The paint on the walls is the same. The ceilings are the same. The lighting is the same. The walls are made of the same material. The parking lots are very similar with upfront parking. Our vending machines, we have vending machines and they have 20 or 30 products. Everything in our vending machines, both our canned drink machines and our snacks and box soaps are all $1.50. There's no cash put into those machines. Our reader is on every machine that we have. So we have really simplified it. Like one store, we make no exceptions with employees and we make no exceptions with locations. We're not going to operate Terrymore different than we operate Clinton Road or the bank or different. We're going to continue to operate that, and that
Each
makes
of our
it
stores
scalable.
has its own name. That's what those are.
Yep. Yeah, and we're branded the same. The Wash House Laundromats across. Our average customer uses 2 to 3 of our locations. So we've got our own payment system that we've created, which is our RFID-based payment system, and our customers utilize that and use it at all locations. So I just wanted to mention that. We really have simplified the business model. We can make
Keep it simple, sweetie, okay? Keep it simple.
We can make this as complicated as we would like, or we can simplify it. And that doesn't mean you have to cut out all services, and we're not here to talk you out of anything. We just want you to take an outside look and maybe look 2 or 3 or 5 or 10 years down the road and say, what decisions am I going to thank myself for? Yeah. And what am I going to be like, man, I regret making that decision? That's the same conversation that Lee and I have with each other on a regular basis.
Yes.
So hope that helps.
Yep.
Liability. Do we want to increase those, Lee, or do we want to reduce those?
All right, well, we want to reduce those. So this is one of my favorite pictures.
Angela.
Yep, we'll call her Marie.
Marie.
Is Marie a self-service customer or is she a staff member of our full-service business? I don't know, but I sure hope she's not pouring bleach into somebody's clothes that she's not supposed to. It might be these clothes right here she was supposed to. So this other lady, here she is using a washing machine. She's pulling out these clothes. Either one of these situations, whether this first lady is pouring bleach into her self-service customer or full-service customer's clothes, her chances of ruining that person's clothes have increased because she has taken on the liability. When those people drop their belongings off and leave their kids' school uniforms with you, liability has increased. Does your pricing, do your procedures help guard you against the liability that you are taking on for accepting the responsibility of cleaning someone's garments? You need to ask yourself that question. One thing that we see a lot is the other lady in the apron. Is she working at a commercial facility, or does she have a bunch of corporate rentals or Airbnbs and she's in our laundromat using our facilities? Because our dad taught us to facilitate laundry. We don't have to assume the responsibility for getting it cleaned, for processing it, for packaging it, and for delivering it. But we can be there to help this lady clean those linens all by herself. And we don't have to pay her. We'll get to labor in a little bit, though. Yep,
the one on the right, to me, looks like one of our commercial clients. We talked about commercial clients. A lot of people talked about commercial clients, selling commercial clients. So you say, well, look, y'all don't serve commercial clients. You don't serve wash, dry, fold clients. You don't serve pickup and delivery. That's not true. We work with entrepreneurs. Anybody can come use our laundromats. If you're in the Raleigh, North Carolina area and you want to start full service, man, you can do it in our laundromats without spending a dime on equipment, without spending anything. You can get into the business. So we work with a lot of those. And because of our software, we can have our MVCs, our most valuable customers. And our most valuable customers spend between $5,000 and $10,000 a year with us. They're commercial clients. They're Airbnb people. But we don't take liability. We just provide the facility. But our staff is there to make sure they have a good experience. And every Wednesday at Greenbrier, Maria knows to expect the ladies that are coming, and they're going to fill every washer in there, they're going to fill every dryer, and we're going to make sure that we have room for others. But they are not staffed by us. The girls who come and process that, and they're in there folding, they're not staffed by us, but we do facilitate that. And what that provides is they always have a functioning machine. If they buy 2 washers and 2 dryers for their business, then they've got to upkeep those. Instead, they can come to the Wash House Laundromats. They can go to any of our locations. They can use the same card. The owner can send their staff because the card, the funds are completely verified. They can bring it back. They can look at the count, see what machines have been used, the time they've been used. So for me, that definitely looks like one of our commercial clients. For you, that may visually instantly come up, that looks like one of my employees. For us, that looks like one of our commercial clients, and the other definitely looks like one of our customers who's just having a good time doing her laundry.
Yep. And one aspect of I've heard a lot of people talk about is pricing. You know, how do you price your commercial? Do you give discounts on a tiered rate, that type of thing? With our payment system that we use, we run what's called double your money promotions. And so what we do is we either select all of our stores the last 3 days of the year, or one store on a Wednesday. And we promote a week and a half ahead of time that at that store, we will offer double your money. For every $1 our customers put into our kiosk, we will give them an extra $1. We have a lot of our commercial people who drive all over so that they can come in and take advantage of this promotion. They never call us and say, look, I'm doing $1,500 a month with you. Is there any discount I can get? We've completely solved that problem because they get a 50% discount all the time because they take advantage of our promotion.
So last week, I was in one of the stores, Spring Forest. Roy is his name. He's in there all the time. He's a professional guy. He business owner, does a lot of different stuff. Well, he had told me that he had driven from Raleigh, North Carolina, all the way to Fayetteville the week before to put $5,100 bills in the validator to get $10,000 of value. So we match.
Who does not want
no
$5,100?
And you may say, well,
in your bill acceptor. That
makes no sense. Well, who doesn't want a customer to spend $5,000 with you? You know, so he goes and does that. You know, so we do commercial, we do wash, dry, fold, we do pickup and delivery. Imperium wash, dry, fold, pickup and delivery, another account that we work with. We provide the facility. He just rented a place right near our store in Wake Forest. He called me, 1,000 square feet he rented. He's not putting any machines, he just needed it for excess. I'm like, go get them, Dave. Do your thing, you know. So we're able to work together with different partners. So if you're in this room and you say, man, I can't get into the laundry business, maybe you can partner with somebody. And I wanted to ask that question. Who in here does wash, dry, fold, pick up, and delivery, but doesn't own a laundromat? I know there was one I met earlier.
There's a few.
Couple?
A few. Yep.
That's great. That's great.
Yep. Have your own facility to be able to process it. Yep.
Yep. Eastern Funding's not going to repo her business. Right? or anybody, sorry, any of the lenders. Brian Grail, I love you. That's a shout out. All attention is good attention, Grail.
Yes. So on that, somewhat of a liability is owning a laundromat, you have invested the capital to get yourself started. You have overcome the pretty high barrier of entry that we have within this business. If you have gotten a quote for a new store, you realize it takes a lot of capital to be able to open a laundromat. And so when you're able to establish that laundromat and then process as much revenue through that store that you can, we calculate it by machine utilization, which we call turns per day. Maybe a metric that you use. If you do not, I highly recommend you look into it and use that as a very good metric and barometer of the health of your store. And with these people who come in and are doing their own laundry, doing their Airbnb's laundry, doing 5 salons laundry, we have carried the cost for the equipment. And the only thing that they have are the cost for our machines. And we charge about 15 cents a pound for retail laundry. And our margin for utilities is about 15%. So that's 2.25 cents for every pound that we wash. So when that person comes in with their customer's laundry and they're going to start a machine and wash 90 pounds of laundry, they're only going to pay about 15 cents a pound to process that. So their variable cost and how much laundry they do is still pretty low. So that provides them with profitability, and it provides us with higher turns per day. We have learned that it is a pretty nice symbiotic relationship, and might talk about it a little later, but that's where I see our industry going. I see stores that are existing, that have paid for the equipment. I see commercial laundry being done in different facilities, and then these app-based, easy-to-use services that utilize laundromats within their neighborhood, within their city, to be able to provide full-service garment care for their customers. And that's something that we have to contend with as an industry. Where are we going? And what liability does it have for not just our books, our financials, but our business model too?
All right, Lee, logistics.
Yeah. Who has ever worked for FedEx or UPS or a logistics company?
There you go.
All right, there you go.
All right.
Very good. Somebody over here? All right, so you guys are the experts in logistics. What logistics do you have involved in a full-service wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery? Are there logistics?
Absolutely.
What are you tracking? What are you having to line up every single day? Shout it out. Let me hear.
I was with a coaching client the other day in Florida. He was getting calls all morning. Does anybody else get those calls to route your staff, or is that all done by phone and you have no human interaction?
Anybody running logistics? Nobody's running logistics.
So maps out that.
But to begin with, we have to establish routes. Where are we going to go? How often? How big is the route? How long does it take to get there? And then you have to try to maximize the density.
Yeah.
That's part of the marketing strategy.
Yep.
We have systems that do the logistics.
But you're still heavily involved. I mean, AI is pretty new, pretty cool, but it's not running your systems for you. It's not making decisions for you yet.
And that's one of the trade-offs for us, logistics. Yep. So we don't have to, or we choose not to. We give away that pickup and delivery revenue, but by giving away that revenue, we also give away the dealing with and management of the software and the staff member that's going to drive around and drive your van, the expense of the van. Where's Ross at?
The vans.
Ross, where's Ross Dodds at? You recognize this van up here, man? What was the quote? All right, let's see it. Ross, this is your slide. Here we go, Ross's quote. This was on Facebook like 2 years ago. Ross put, "Nobody told me we couldn't go into garages."
Anybody ever had a service van that's had a bit of an accident? And to reroute? Oh, yeah. Absolutely. That adds to a nightmare for logistics. I mean, your software, it might reroute them, but it will definitely take a little bit more effort. Again, our mindset is to keep it as simple as possible. And please do not confuse simple with easy or simple with subpar. As Luke was saying earlier, every one of our stores is laid out very similarly. Same color, same floors. We try to look as universal as possible because that's what we can scale. We know what works. We've done it in enough stores. You do 2, you do 3. I've had lots of conversations with folks who say, yeah, I've got 2 stores, I've got 3 stores. I'm doing wash, dry, fold here. I'm not doing it here. This one, I don't have enough space for the wash, dry, fold, but this store over here is self-service only and it's doing fantastic and I don't really want to introduce it. So those are, again, conversations you have to have with yourself, have to have with somebody who's here who can give you some good insight on making very difficult decisions that improve your liability, that improve your logistics, that improve your labor, and that improve your lifestyle.
And to that, I think we have to look at the demographics and we have to study. Maybe you have 4 total locations. 2 of them are going to be great. You're going to process, wash, dry, fold, pick up and delivery. The other 2 you've chosen not. Just make those lines clear at those locations. I just talk to so many people and they're just kind of unsure. When you make decisions, try to be decisive. I think that's one thing that we struggle. We're always kind of questioning. Like Lee said, take a step back. Try to get a bird's eye view, hire a consultant in this industry. We've got many experts in the industry that'll look at your situation and say, yeah, this is right, that is right. An unbiased, perspective can really help shape you and help make decisive decisions. Because indecision is decision, and that can get very, very crazy. And I know everybody gets into this industry for more freedom, more lifestyle, and sometimes when we're working in our business, we can't take ourselves outside of it to get that perspective to make those decisive decisions, whatever they are.
All right, who has less than 5 staff members? Less than 5. Employees, staff.
Team members.
Okay. Who has from 6 to 20? All right. Who has more than 20? All right, very nice. For those of you with more than 20 staff members, how many layers of hierarchy do you have?
4, Dave and Carl.
2, throw your hands up, 2, 4. Oh, 3, okay, so right in the middle, there you go. What does that look like in a full service wash, dry, fold, pick up and delivery world? Well, it sometimes looks like this. You have people on top of people in your facility who are working only on your full service customers' garments. And in our world, our goal again is equipment utilization. And so we want to offer all of our equipment, all of our capacity to Angela, to make sure that when she comes in, she is not elbow to elbow or elbow to face with one of our staff members who is fighting over the last dryer on a Sunday afternoon. Because what Angela really does not like to see is coming into a laundromat and there's little tags on every washer, her favorite washer.
Yep.
So now you have Angela, who is our target customer, who we'll call your target customer in your self-service business, competing with Joanne, who never comes into your laundromat, whose garments are being cleaned in your machines. And so we have completely eliminated that friction, that mindset that every one of our self-service customers has the ability to use any of our washing machines and dryers all the time. What that does is it eliminates the need for excess labor. Who in here has, best way to phrase it, whose labor is not your greatest expense? Okay, 1, 2, yeah. So everyone else has labor as your greatest expense. All right. Do you run that to see what the profitability is on labor committed to full service garment care versus labor committed to self-service garment care? Because the beautiful thing about Angela is she comes into our stores and she does her laundry herself. It's pretty crazy. People think that we tell them what we do, and they're like, I have no idea people still use laundromats. Not only do they use laundromats, they come in, they hang out, they have a nice time, they watch the crazy videos on TV, and they fold their own clothes.
I was at an insurance conference a few months back, and a guy came up to me telling me what I did. I told him I owned some laundromats. He said, "Oh my goodness, man, let me buy you a drink." You know, people just don't know, and that's fine that people still use all of our services. Yeah. Before I forget, I want to mention one thing. What we were talking about earlier, the self-service customer or the wash, dry, fold, getting in the way of the self-service customer. Kelly Reed mentioned earlier, and I commend her and Joe Dan on this, and others have done it, I know, is seeing that, realizing that's gotten in the way of your self-service business and investing in a facility off-site to do that. I know we can't all do that, but many of the top operators are doing that, or they're putting in larger laundromats where they have different spaces for that so they don't compete as bad. We can always say we can shut down at night, run at night, but I always like to put myself in the shoes of everyone that I hire, and your employees do not want to work the 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. shift. Neither do you, neither does anybody, or the graveyard at the laundromat shift. So if you can separate those, it really helps and make dedicated spaces really make sense.
Yep. How many of your businesses in full service garment care can function without your staff showing up?
When you say full service, what do you mean?
Wash, dry, fold, pick up and delivery. Okay. Does anyone have robots yet that show up on time?
Sitz is working on it.
I'll invest into that. That's a pretty cool idea. Okay, so is it fair to say that your business model is dependent on your staff members, your team members, your employees showing up? Who has employees that do not show up? Go ahead, raise your hand. Now, some of you have employees that show up all the time. Yeah,
they're lying.
Absolutely.
Your hands down, you're lying.
So one thing we realized is that, you know, washers and dryers actually function when nobody's in the building.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is amazing. Now, our business model is dependent upon mostly utilities. We can't run anything if there's no electricity. We can't run anything if there's no water. We can't run anything if our dryers if there's no gas. So we are dependent upon certain things that are completely outside of our control. Your labor is outside of your control. You can motivate people, you can offer incentives, bonuses, any type of pay structure that may incentivize your staff members to produce more or show up more often and on time and stay late when they need to. But that's also a huge expense. And so the higher your variable expenses, the lower your net margin. And one of the reasons I have stayed in this business is because our net margins are pretty good in the self-service laundry industry because we do not have to contend with labor. You know, we've all been through COVID. It's over. Congratulations.
Yes.
We know what tight labor markets look like. They're expensive. You know, you've got folks who are working for you and they're like, well, I'm going to go over here and earn, you know, $3 more an hour. And you're like, whoa, 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 you're great. You know things. Now I've got to pay you more. Now your expenses have increased. So you've got to be mindful of that when it comes to taking a very simple model that we've been able to generate and not create because we are not reinventing the wheel, but kind of hone to make it work for us. And low labor is a beautiful part of that.
And it takes intentional, decisive decision making. You know, we've been tempted to do many different things, other businesses or whatnot, but really staying focused, staying true to yourself, whatever that looks like for you.
Yep. But we also employ 75 wonderful people who are like family members. We get together twice a year. We catch up with on how their family's doing, how this goes, how their health is, how their stores are doing, what their customers are doing, because labor is still an important part because we're people and we like to have interaction. So our folks are in the stores cleaning. They're in the store helping people, going outside, taking carts, helping Angela put her things into a cart, get it inside, get her machine started. Labor is still important. But what I would encourage you to do is to think about what percentage of your top line revenue is labor and how you can reduce labor without it significantly impacting your revenue and totally positively impacting your bottom line.
One thing that we do with labor to keep people committed to us and us committed to them, you guys might think this is crazy, but everybody who works for us is full-time. It's 40 hours a week, every week. What does that do? That leads to much less turnover. When we have a job opening come up, we treat people really well. We meet twice a year. We give great bonuses at both of those. And when we have a job opening come up, we actually send that out to our existing staff members, and they help fill it for us. They literally have friends, and they help fill that for us. And it creates a great culture, and it creates them wanting to look for people who might be a good fit within our organization. And when they refer them, when, say, Gilly refers Dan, well, Gilly, when Dan stays with us 90 days, I give you $250 cash. So you have incentive to make sure when you bring Dan on that he's somebody that's going to stay, and you don't want it to reflect poorly on you. So that's one of the things that we do, which makes it a little tighter because we don't have a ton of slack, but we're partially attended. So 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. is when our staff members are there. Most of our staff members are females. We call them store managers, but all of y'all know they're basically laundry attendants. But we pay them like store managers. We give them the ability and empower them to solve problems so the customer doesn't have to call, doesn't have to go to these places. Well, Luke, why is it 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.? It would be so much better if it was 10 a.m. to, our busier hours are like to 8. But what mom with kids wants to work a schedule like that and stay with you for 10, 15 years? They can't do that. But I made the trade-off. Mm-hmm. They start at 8, they get off at 5, they have lunch noon to 1. Made that trade-off. So now the customer comes in at 6 p.m. We've got a floating night manager who goes around to the multiple locations and can help that person. But our staff member, Patricia, and the girls who've been with us, we've got staff been with us as long as I've been here. And our tenure is just continuing to be a thing that we take much pride in. And how do we do that? We take care of our staff members. We make sure that we care about them. I knew about all our customers' names when we first started with 10 or 12 stores. I knew about all of our staff members' names. Now we've had to put people in place who literally, Patricia's job is to make sure she knows everybody's birthday, talks to everybody every month about what's going on in their life outside of work. Anniversary working with us, everybody gets a $50 gift card somewhere and a bouquet of flowers if you're a female. And those little things go a long way. So those are just some things that we've done to simplify. Everybody works full-time, no part-time. And that helps create that tenure. That makes sense to anybody? Is that crazy? A little crazy?
All right, so who entered into this industry because you wanted a certain lifestyle? Yeah? Maybe a good lifestyle, bad lifestyle?
Come on, you saw it on TikTok. They're raining money. Come on.
Who entered it because you wanted to create a job for yourself? Did anybody get into this industry because you just simply wanted to create a job for yourself? A legacy?
I love that.
That's good. I like it. I love that word. This lady got in it because she thought she could handle it. The liability, the logistics, the labor issues really started to weigh on her. One thing that we are big on, if you ever have watched our podcast or listened to any of our videos out there, lifestyle is extremely important for us. It is a non-negotiable for me. If a decision has to be made and it's going to significantly impact what I enjoy doing in my life, because I love to work, but I do not live to work. It's just one of the things that I enjoy. It provides for my family. It provides for our families. It provides for our staff members. But how does it impact the lifestyle that I have created and has been created for me? So you need to ask yourself that. How do the decisions that I have made, am making, or might make based on what you have experienced here at this great conference, how will that impact the lifestyle that I have as an ideal for myself? The laundry industry, with much thanks to all the work that the CLA has done over the past 30, 40, 50, 60 years, has allowed this industry to elevate itself, to kind of break down all these stereotypes. We're getting rid of zombie mats. And that allows us to enjoy a type of lifestyle that we like, whether that's working 60 hours a week and just plowing through, enjoying what you do, hands-on. You cannot work 0 hours a week. Just ask a few folks who have tried that before. They're not at this conference. They're in another industry now. But somewhere you will land, and it's very important for you to think about quarterly, semi-annually, annually, are the decisions that I'm making, we're making, working for the type of lifestyle I expect because of how this industry is structured.
Yes, and it can be very rewarding. You can look around the room. I mean, the industry's been here a long time. Brian can tell you so many success stories. It can be rewarding, but I say this all the time. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. I know wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery operators that cannot make a profit. It's the same business. People are the same. I know Dave Benz, who makes a huge profit in the same business model. I know others that do the same. It's not what we do, it's how we do it. So when you leave here this week, decide what you want to do, and more importantly, decide how you want to do it. She said her goal was to leave a legacy. What type of legacy? The small decisions become the big decisions. It says in Scripture, faithful with the small, I'll trust you with the great. Some of you guys have one store, and everybody who I talk to has 0 or 1 store. They want to tell me about their 10 or 12 store plan they have. Let's just take one bite of the apple every day, and you'll see progress. Success doesn't happen overnight. It takes hard work day in and day out. So whatever you're doing, but keep your lifestyle in mind. Do not create something that makes you miserable. And how do we do that? Make sure that we make intentional decisions that line up with where our goals. Write down your goals, get an outside perspective, talk to your husband or spouse, your children, whoever it might affect, and make a decision based off where you want to go and start to think about how you want to get there and create the lifestyle that you all dream of. Can you have the lifestyle that you all dream of? I believe it. Absolutely. In this industry, absolutely. You're in a room full of knowledge. There's so much here. We've just got to go back and apply the knowledge. The greatest gap in the world, I say this a lot, the greatest gap in the world is between knowing and doing. Okay, people get on me, they're like, Luke, why would you get up there and tell laundromat owners they're going to come to Raleigh, they're going to put in a bunch of laundromats? What are you thinking? Seriously, I get that. I said, I don't care. Dude, the greatest gap in the world is between knowing and doing. I can tell them they're not going to do it. You know what I mean? And it makes me so joyful when I see Jason Worm, who was living in Australia a few years ago. He reached out to me. I was able to just shed light on some things, and now he's on panels. He's very successful. Others, I want to help people, and everybody in this room wants to help people, man, and that's how we create a legacy, if we all help one that helps one. And I know there's so many other influencers in here, and people are like, why are there influencers, man? They just want your money. No, they want to help you. They truly do. There's people in this room that really want to help you. And some of them have successful laundromats and don't need any funds. But when you invest in coming down to a boot camp with us or a boot camp with some of these others, man, you're putting your investment into yourself. And when somebody pays for something, they don't take it for granted. They listen. They take notes. You guys are here. I commend you for being here. You invested to be here. I know if you take away and do the actions, you'll have the lifestyle that you want. And many of you are already living that lifestyle.
Yes.
Jesse
Great.
is.
All right.
What's next?
Q&A. I think we've got 15 minutes for some question and answer.
Lee gets the hard one.
Shoot us anything.
Right here.
We'll be as open and honest as possible. Here, we'll
We
wait
have
for
a
a mic.
mic.
Yeah,
Bob.
they're on the way.
Great.
Raise your hand here.
So you hit on a key point. What would you say the difference is between the successful WD operators versus those that fizzle out? Because you said earlier, you know, it's the how you do it versus the what you do.
I would say they are local to their laundromat, and they're involved in the wash, dry, fold, pickup, and delivery process. And normally it starts with wash, dry, fold, and then it scales out. I think of guys like Charles, who's Charles Beasley, who's involved in it and then grows. I think if you're living in Texas and you want to start a pickup and delivery here in Nashville, that's going to be very tough. Those people fizzle out. Or if you're selling insurance and you've got 2 insurance agencies and you're a real estate investor and you have this wash, dry, fold, and you're just going to hire a staff member to handle it all, that fizzles out sometime because you're not involved. I think the more involved that the owner, you guys, the owner is always going to have more incentive than anyone else. Of course, I believe you can hire people and train them, but you've got to train them. And how do you train people on something that you've never done or don't know how to do? You can't do that. So I think the leader has to learn it, and then they can train it to somebody else, and then it becomes more passive. But
Yeah, Wash, Dry, Fold is a very hands-on business, very hands-on business model, and it's important that you, as the owner, operator, have a pretty high standard.
Yep.
And so the standard that you set, nobody else is going to set it higher. So if it's not high enough to meet your customers, your target customers' expectations, you will not last. If you are not connected with your community, those folks that you're serving, you will not last, because those relationships are vital. So you've got to provide excellent service, connect with the people in your community. And that's one thing that, you know, our goal has been to scale our business model and to dominate our market. And we've just seen as casual observers that it's a little more difficult to achieve that goal, which may not be your goal, absolutely, with that type of business model, where it's important that you are physically present, where you have a pretty good feel of how things are going, and making sure that your staff members are executing upon the level of excellence that you have set.
And I think revenue solves everything. So you're going to have to be there from the start, and you're going to have to set the standard. But once you do that for a while, then you can put people in place, and then you're just holding people accountable. But you've got to set the standard. Mm-hmm. I think of Waleed, how he packages things and puts them out. If he trains somebody to do it and they miss the bar by just a bit, it's still a great product, because I know how high he set the bar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
First, thanks for sharing your insights on the business, and I'm sure your granddad will be very proud. Congrats, guys. Question I have is, do you have a feel on what percentage of your business is the self-serve customer versus the customer doing it for others?
Yeah, as far as numbers of customers, it would be, I'd say maybe 5% of our customer base come in and are doing other people's laundry on a weekly basis. But those 5% also spend more per average than our average customer. So
I like to say that 80% of our customers are repeat customers. They're using it over and over. 10% are transient, so they're coming into town and out of town or whatnot. And then 5% are their washers broke down, or it's, my wife headed there to do the comforters, somewhere in there. The 80%'s the bulk of it, the repeat customers. But that 5% is they're great customers.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 questions. First one, just out of curiosity, you said you have attendance from 8 to 5. What are your operating hours of your stores?
Our stores open at 6 a.m. through an automatic door lock, mag lock, and they close at midnight. So our last wash is at 11, and the doors close at midnight.
And I can go ahead. I was just going to say, we've got a staff member who goes around. We break it down in the regions, so he works from 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., and he goes around to multiple locations. Then he's got a route, basically, speaking of logistics, so he's got a route. And from midnight to 2 a.m., he's just making sure all those mag locks work and that people are out of the store. So that's what he does. The reason we have the mag locks isn't to lock at night. He could lock with a key. The reason you have the mag locks is because you cannot get anybody to show up at 6 a.m. 365 days a year and unlock it. So the reason we have the mag locks is so it unlocks on time.
Nobody's waiting in the parking lot.
Yep.
The door's open.
All right. My second question is, you said that your philosophy is to facilitate commercial accounts. Do you do any marketing to commercial accounts? Do you solicit their business, or do they just find you and walk in?
Most of them find us. We don't have any sort of online marketing campaign or physical marketing campaign like flyers or anything.
We have gone into hotels.
Yeah,
and
the only
whatnot.
thing is
I go
local
in.
hotels. Yep, we'll
They're-
give them a card, let them know we're a mile down the road if their system breaks down. And we do. We have people who come in, and I mean, we had closed a store one time because there was a company in need of processing huge amounts of laundry, and we were able to accommodate them because we had multiple stores in that area. Just put a sign on the door and said, closed for 1 week till their big tunnel washer could be repaired.
And also, you never say no. So when hurricanes come through, and we have those, sometimes I work with the Red Cross as well as Duke Energy. They bring in linemen by the hundreds, and in those linemen's contract, and this is something for y'all, if you're having a storm, find out, get involved with the Red Cross, get involved with the utility company. They literally will fly in or drive in thousands of linemen, and in these linemen's contracts is that the linens that they sleep on at these bunks that they put out have to be done every day. Their towels have to be done every day. So it's massive amounts of laundry. So I was able to become a vendor for them years ago. So when they have that, we do. So I'll flip and I'll go we'll do full service in those instances to help the community, to help these linemen.
Simply to facilitate all that laundry, which is unexpected and short term, to get
And
clean.
the PR that you get from that, they love it. The bill that you send, Duke does not care because there's so few people that can handle the capacity. So our stores can handle the capacity. So we, they called me, I remember, and were like, do you have a box truck? I was over here renting a box truck. Yes, I have a box truck now. I know you are entrepreneurs. We figure it out.
Hustle it.
We don't say no, so we make things work.
All right. Oh, grill.
Hi, Luke. Hi, Lee. So just so you know, excuse me, I've had the pleasure of visiting with the Willifords. We did a free laundry day down there. And I know where the safe is in your house. So if you decide to stiff anyone, we know how to get to it. But, very often what's missed in our industry is how important a mindset is. So for everybody in this audience, you should get into the Facebook page of Luke, the Willifords, and you see how they run their life, their business on a daily basis. It is game-changing on the mindset, the way they treat their customers, their attendants. But more importantly is, with your now third generation running over 40 laundromats, can you tell the audience, a lot of new people here, what advice would you have for someone just getting into the business to avoid? What was the critical mistakes other than doing wash, dry, and fold for 1 year that you could shed some light on?
Comes to mind to me is lying to yourself during the hiring process. So hiring's like dating. You're not going to fix the guy or the girl, and you're also not going to fix the guy or the girl. I am bad. I have a big heart, but it can be bad. So you're not going to change somebody. You're not going to take somebody from Craigslist and turn them into a worker. They're just going to be playing Fortnite. That's what they like to do. You're going to take somebody from Subway who's working 30 hours at Subway and then 20 hours somewhere else because Subway won't give her 30 hours and the other place, just two places give her 20 hours. You're going to tell them, I'm going to pay you 40 hours a week every week. So I just go to hiring, making sure you bring on the right team members. I think some simple things we forget, Grell, is I go into new stores and they've invested $1 million and the attendant's outside smoking, does not have a branded shirt on. I mean, bright shirts. You've spent $1 million on the equipment. let's at least put our staff members in a bright shirt and make sure that we invest to find that friendly staff member. So whatever means to find that staff member, and you may be saying, well, what are the best places to find new staff? Well, the best place to find them is your existing customer base, because they know what a laundromat is. They normally have a good disposition. Who knows what disposition means? That means you're great, you're happy with where you're at in life. They're not going to try to take your role. They're not trying to compete with you. But you can go to your laundromat on a Saturday or Sunday, and most likely you can meet someone who would love to have that role in hiring. Other mistakes, Lee, for a new person, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say place a high value on sweat equity. If
Yes.
you are just getting in, you need to do as much of it yourself as possible. We call it act broke, you know. Even if you got a whole bunch of money coming into this thing, don't act like that is going to sustain you, because those dollars will dwindle quickly, especially if you make some key mistakes. And another one is, for me, is do not over equip your store if you're opening a laundromat. That just sets you up for a situation, especially if you don't grow as quickly as you anticipated, or maybe your distributor thought that you could, because what that does is it sets up a high fixed cost. You know, somebody's having to pay that note, and you don't want to get yourself in that situation.
One of the things,
Add equipment later on,
yeah.
once you've got, 5.5 turns a day.
If you're acquiring a store and you're new, man, everything doesn't have to be tore out. If it's a zombie, yes, Grail, it's got to be tore out. But some things can go a long ways, like you said, a little bit of sweat equity, and you can replace just a portion of the stores. Put some big washers at the front, put some big dryers, paint the building, clean it up, put a friendly staff member in there until you can afford to replace everything. If it's old, you've got to replace it. But I'm telling that person who doesn't want to bite off that big chunk, man, Leo, the other financing partner, they'll finance you just a few washers to start to get you going. Mm-hmm. They love to do that. And then they know they'll come back, and once you see it's successful and it's working, they'll be able to help you continuously. So start small and go from there.
Yep.
What we got, Lo?
What would you say is your increased self-service business because you don't do wash, dry, fold? Does that question make sense? Like here, I'll give you a real life example. We talked about this the other day. So I've got a store that does about $500,000 a year. 300,000 of that is self-service. 200,000 of that is wash, dry, fold. If we were to eliminate wash, dry, fold, where do you think we could take that self-service business to?
We'd have to know the demographics and whatnot. So we could definitely look at all of those things.
And I would say 100% of the revenue that you would lose through the full service could be filled with self-service laundry. If all you need are the demographics, especially if it's doing $300,000 a year already.
And that additional,
you just need the capacity. Yeah, you just need to free up the capacity to be able to do that.
That additional 200, if we could get half of that in self-serve, it might be the same amount of profit and a little bit less labor, a better lifestyle for you, Sam, possibly. Or you could grow that. I just find it interesting that we focus on, so we're buying a store. You just gave us an analogy. If I'm buying a store, we focus on growing, say, self-service is 70% and full service is 30%. Well, first thing we want to do is really focus on pickup and delivery, wash, dry, fold, growing that 30%. And I guess we assume as an industry that the self-service is fixed. And let me tell you something, it's not fixed. No. There are more customers out there than you think. So we just don't work at that. We don't market to that. I would say open your mind, and you can continue to grow both at the same time is the ultimate.
And we say that having experienced going into a new market where there are just zombie mats everywhere.
Everywhere.
I mean, I would never take my stuff into these stores. And these are the options that the self-service customer had in those markets. We come in, we completely renovate a store, and people start coming out of the woodwork. And then we do it in another part of the same town, another part of the same town, another part of the same town, and we have no idea where these people were doing their laundry before, because The market is not fixed, like Luke said.
Yep.
You just have to open your mind to, okay, there's X amount of people. Can these demographics support the capacity, the revenue that I have set as a goal for this location? And most likely it can.
I'll give you an analogy, like grocery stores do it all the time. You'll see a Harris Teeter and a Food Line pops up. Well, I know a buddy who works with Food Line. I said, how much did that Harris Teeter hurt y'all's business? He said, we went down like 10%. So let's say they were doing 10 million at this one, and now they're doing 9 million. This one's doing 9 million. The total's like up to 18 or 19 million. It's very similar percentage-wise in our business. There's just more business out there than we think. When we are branded, we are nice, when we are set up to handle what we market for. A lot of us market for all this business, but if it comes in, we aren't set up to properly handle it. If you open a Starbucks on the corner, it's going to do people are going to drink more coffee in the area. I use that illustration all the time. It's not the same amount of coffee drinkers are just going to drink more coffee. No, the coffee drinkers are going to drink more coffee, and we're also going to create more coffee drinkers because we have a branded, nice facility that has really good coffee right there. The same with your business. If you can become branded, you can make it nice, you can market it properly. You're not
you can
just
repeat
gonna,
it in another side of town.
You're not just going to steal the laundromat from up the street's business like you think, and then we have it split. You're actually going to create new self-service customers when you have that nice facility.
Questions?
Luke and Lee, great presentation, great
Lee.
insights.
Thank you.
I just want to say first, appreciate it, but I'm not going to stop doing wash and fold. But great presentation. But to all seriousness, I heard you say people, processes, systems, and consistency. So would you really say it's really not about not doing wash and fold, but it's about not building a good business system in whatever we do in our industry?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we use those words a lot in our organization, and the scale that we've gotten to, those things matter bigly. It's just extremely important. If one small thing in one store is repeated 40 times, then you have a headache. Mm-hmm. We had it in our payment system. We had this inferior little piece, and we realized it was a piece of junk. And not only was it a piece of junk on our most used machine in our highest revenue store, it was on all of our equipment. And so we had to come in and create a better system, create a better product, put it in, and being able to utilize the right people within the right systems, we're able to scale the way that we have been able to because our business model is simple and it's repeatable, it's consistent, and that adds to, again, our goals that we talked about earlier, which works for us.
Yep. People, processes, we were talking earlier about making tickets. So we got a ticketing system, and I can send a message out to all of our staff. I plan a game plan for our guys every week so they know vaguely what we're trying to get done that week. Helps them anticipate what we've got going on. The more procedures, processes, planning that you can put together, expectations. You know, when you hire somebody, make sure that you set expectations for them and they have expectations you. Make those things clear, and you can all work together to accomplish things. Anybody else?
All right, Bob? Joe?
Have you guys ever taken over a store with an existing wash, dry, fold?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's my favorite. Ooh. I love to free up that real estate. Put a big washing machine up there.
No, seriously, go ahead.
We have acquired several stores.
Many.
Most of them are what's called a shotgun layout, you know, where you've got the dryers on the left and the washers on the right. And you go in, and the first
right
25 feet are dedicated to counter
there.
Space and storing, you know, wash, dry, fold customers' belongings. Mm-hmm. And so when Angela comes in, she has to walk 25 feet in this store, this particular store, to go to a change machine. So to me, that just adds unnecessary work for our primary customer. So what we love doing is coming in, acquiring the store, ripping out the shelves and the countertops and extending our capacity with large capacity washers right there at the front, put some large capacity dryers across from them, and we never looked back.
We've done 2 stores with the lady named Wanda who led Wash Dry Fold at 2 different stores. And Wanda, both instances, thought we were crazy. Truly thought we were crazy. One of the Wandas was stealing $1,000 a week from the owner.
Yes.
And she was, and the Wash Dry Fold was right there in the middle. Long story short, we took out all of that day one. I literally removed the counter as soon as we signed. I'd start to remove the counter and we change all the locks. When we do these closings, we buy back the quarters. They always have a big basket of keys, and they're telling me exactly how you hit this breaker in the morning. Wanda gets here, she does the Wash Dry Fold. I promoted her. She doesn't do the cleaning of anything anymore. We got another guy that comes through and does the lint trap cleaning or whatnot. But it's similar all across the country. Do these things sound familiar? It's all across the country. But both times, one Wanda, obviously we got rid of pretty quick. The second Wanda now works for us. That was a different location. We took it out. She's like, what are these guys going to do? What are my Wash Dry Fold customers going to do? And we showed her that we turned those into self-service customers.
And double the revenue of both the stores.
And we doubled the revenue at both stores.
Yep.
And one of those stores without changing one piece of equipment in the whole store. There was no piece of equipment changed there. We kept the existing 10-year-old equipment. We just fixed it all up.
So it can happen. Nice. It can happen. Don't be afraid.
All right, I think we've run out of time, unfortunately.
No, we're good. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you very much, y'all.